Hey. So I'm back again with another one of my famous tea talks. I really had some good feedback on my last tea talk. So we're about to get into the second segment.
Hey. You got it, girl, you got it. Yeah.
So this is the second segment of Tea Talk Thursdays, and today's topic is communications forming conclusions. So, do y'all want to know one of the biggest issues with people in general, but specifically our generation? I'm going to break it down into 3 simple steps. Just 3. 1. Everyone, but in particular our generation, lacks communication. We lack it in our relationships, in our friendships, and in general when we're just publicly speaking to someone. And because we lack these communication skills, sometimes we allow conclusions to be made. Instead of asking or telling someone and communicating with them, we form conclusions which sometimes equal problems. Because what we don't know is we form conclusions in our head that we're not even aware of sometimes. It's such like a second instinct now that if we don't know something, we automatically try to guess the answer ourselves, which isn't the right thing to do. Let me give you an example. You have friends that don't always communicate or openly communicate because they may feel neglected. One friend may feel neglected by the other friend, or one friend may feel that their friend is going to, how can I say this, is going to judge them. So that leads to not being open. But on the receiving end of the other friend could be like, well, she's not talking to me, I guess she's mad at me. That's the first thing we form in our head, the conclusion that someone is mad at us, or they're just not talking to us. Which in actuality, they may want to talk to us but don't know how to. But that's where communication plays a huge role. In relationships, you see it a lot where there are a lot of misinterpretations of actions, and I feel like communication for me is one of the biggest things in any relationship that I'm in with a person. 2, why relationships don't work. And I'm not just talking about relationships with your spouse. I'm talking about with your friend, with your family member, anyone in your circle. Why these relationships aren't working. Literally, most relationships fail because of communication. For an example, we feel we can't be honest with our spouse about something because we're afraid we may lose them. We're going to be honest. We lie to our spouse because we're like, well, they're not going to understand, or it was a mistake. I didn't mean for it to happen. It won't happen again. But that doesn't mean you don't share that with them. Because for me, my thing has always been, I openly communicate anything, and I do that because it never gives room for doubt. And when I openly communicate anything, it gives that person on the receiving end the option to react how they want to. I've always told anyone that's in my circle, tell me the truth about anything and let me react how I want to, whether it's good or bad, if I want to cut you off or stay with you because you told me the truth. But those are things you let that person decide, because lying only makes it worse, for one, and lying takes away that person's right of choice. One issue I've seen in our society is that we are communicating ineffectively. Men are taught to not show emotions because it is the manly thing to do, while women are told they are in their feelings too much, which essentially leads to us being less open. A friend sent me a chapter of a book, and basically, I'm gonna, sum it up for you guys. Basically, the author was saying that as a natural instinct, because we don't communicate well, we form conclusions about everything. We guess, or just because we don't know. And what will happen is our mind will start believing those things that we are forming conclusions about, even if it's nothing close to the actual truth. But that's where communication comes in. It's like and I know everyone can relate to this, when we don't know the answer, we try to figure it out ourselves. Even if it's the right or wrong answer, we accept it because it's like our mind needs something to believe in. Our mind needs an answer to something. So if we don't get that answer from someone, we will create our own answer. 3, communication rules the nation. Until we start communicating more and stop making conclusions, we will live in this continuous cycle that is hurting our generation, but most importantly, us overall. We must start asking more questions, and if we're not sure about something, we must get clarification. If you don't understand what someone is communicating to you, ask them to explain, please. Anyone that know me know I'll be like, explain, please. We must also be willing to share. For some, it may not be as easy as others because they grew up in a setting where they didn't openly share. I'm happy that I was blessed to be in a family where we openly shared our issues or celebrated our accomplishments. But everyone isn't like that. But that doesn't mean people should use that as an excuse for their lack of communication. We owe it to the people in our circle to share with them anything that will affect them. I have always felt like if something affects someone in my circle, I share it with them. They deserve that at the least. So lastly, we must show generations to come how to effectively communicate. That looks like, for us, for those who actually know how to communicate well, being understanding and trying to help those who don't openly communicate as well. And that looks like on the receiving end, for those who don't openly communicate well, being open and accepting when people are trying to communicate with you. So it's basically a process that we must come together on to help one another.